Hey guys, Drifter here. Welcome to Black Ops 4 In Depth. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about shotgun stats. It's almost a double bonus episode of In Depth because we're going to be talking about general tips and basically a full In Depth on two shotguns, the only two shotguns in the game, because Black Ops 4 has decided to make shotguns secondary weapons instead of primaries, and unfortunately, they have to be weaker so that they're not completely OP secondaries that everybody runs like Modern Warfare 2. There are some general shotgun tips we're going to go over in the beginning of the episode, such as the fact that Black Ops 4 shotguns work a lot like Black Ops 3 shotguns in that they have a fixed base damage per hit, and then you get a bonus for each pellet that you hit. So just totally random numbers I'm pulling out of my butt here for an example. If you hit one of your 8 pellets, your shotgun is going to deal 100 damage just because you hit somebody, just because you got a hit marker, and then after that it'll deal some amount of bonus damage depending on if you hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or up to 8 pellets, so that each pellet has its own individual amount of damage. This was done in Black Ops 3 to increase shotgun consistency and make them feel way less fluky. Headshots don't matter at all, just shooting somebody in the head has the same damage as shooting them in the hands, feet, body, chest, or anything. Shotguns have a flat multiplier across the body. That's been the same for like the last 4 or 5 COD games, and like the last Call of Duty games, aiming down sights will tighten your spread a lot. Previously, a shotgun would just spray kind of widely, whether you were hip firing or aiming down sights, so there was no reason not to hip fire. More recent Call of Duty games have given you a bonus accuracy for aiming down sights, so if you do ADS and you're very accurate and you hit your target, you'll hit a lot more pellets because they spread tight. In the case of the MOG 12, it's almost like a slug. It's ludicrous. So that's a very good tactic. Now, let's move into the damage stats, and before I do, I want to give one disclaimer that the following damage stats are hand-tested, and there may be some errors. This is not from the code or from a stat sheet anywhere. I had to do this in private match myself, the slow way, the hard way, and shotguns, by their nature of their short range, and it's difficult to tell how many pellets you hit, there may be some errors, but the overall information is quite good. Without any further ado, let's talk about the MOG 12 shotgun. The base damage, if you get a hit whatsoever at pretty much any range, is approximately 130 up close and about 106 at long range, which is surprising given the fact that it's super long range and just barely on the range at which your pellets are going to disappear. If you just tickle somebody with one pellet, you're going to be dealing over 100 damage. The bonus that you get per pellet that you hit is 8 to 2, with 8 being up close and 2 being at super long ranges. So a long range hit is going to net you about an enemy with about 30 health left, and a close range hit will obviously insta-kill people if you get enough pellets. And I just wanted to show you the base MOG 12 maximum one-shot range. It's actually kind of good if you aim down sights. Well, probably better than most people would think or expect because the shotgun is not very popular in the community. However, this can be significantly improved. If you put the choke on the weapon, which is kind of like long barrel 2, it increases the amount of damage that you deal per pellet according to the in-game tooltips, and my testing indicates this as well. The base damage stays the same. It's still about 130 to 106. However, the pellet damage approximately doubles up to 16 damage per pellet or 4 damage per pellet at super long ranges, which means that you don't really have to ADS quite as much to get those bonus hits to kill people, and it obviously increases your one-shot kill range. The new one-shot kill range on the MOG 12 with the choke looks something like this, which is way more impressive. That may not work against people that have had their health stemmed or if they have armor or anything, but just a base enemy, the normal guy you're going to run into, you can definitely chunk and one-shot people. The MOG 12 is massively improved with the choke. However, this one has the Dragon's Breath attachment. If you put on your secondary operator mod, you can equip Dragon's Breath from the good old Black Ops 1 campaign, or kind of like the fire shotguns from World War II. However, it's been significantly changed since beta. Dragon's Breath does not increase the base damage or the damage per pellet, so you get no bonus damage whatsoever for your initial shot. However, it does apply a burn effect that is always fatal unless you heal. Now, in the beta, when you would burn somebody with the Dragon's Breath, they couldn't heal and they would just burn and get screwed. However, the burn would only deal about an extra 20 points of damage. In the final version of the game, you're just going to start burning, and you will burn until you're healed, either by Crash just overhealing you, or you press heal on yourself, which means typically with the MOG 12, you're going to hit somebody and deal over 100 damage, and the enemy is going to have about 2-ish seconds, maybe 3 to heal up before they die, and if it's close range, it's going to be just a fraction of a second. So if somebody is running the Dragon's Breath shotgun and you get dinked, be sure to heal immediately. This is really going to punish non-stim players. Players that have stim, that always have the heal ready, they can do it frequently, they can do it on the fly while moving, it's not going to bother them too much. But for any player not running stim who doesn't have their heal available, or just is trying to save it, or doesn't have the reaction time, or didn't watch this in-depth episode, is going to burn to death no matter what. I tested this with custom health settings and it just seems to burn until you're dead, or until you heal. So that's only one of the shotguns. Let's move into shotgun number 2, which is the SG-12. This is our spam shotgun. This is the one that looks like the USAS or the AA-12. It's the fast fire spammy boy. The base damage on this one is way lower at 44 to 25. However, it can still deal decent damage if you get enough pellets to hit, yet the pellets are not as powerful as the MOG-12. The per pellet damage is approximately 7 to 1. Unfortunately, the SG-12 does not have a one-shot range. The math on that just doesn't work out, so even if you point blank somebody dead in the chest, you will not get a one-shot kill. It is, however, usually a two-shot kill. Just if you're using it at a sane range and you get enough pellets hit, 2 shots is the way to go with this one. Maybe 3 shots if you're at really long range or you miss a whole bunch of pellets, but that's pretty rare. This is really more of a 2-hit or quit shotgun. However, this one has 2 damage modifying attachments and a third one that's crazy that we're going to need to take a look at. The first one is Laser Sight 2. If you read the in-game tooltip, Laser Sight 2 says it greatly increases your hipfire, which it definitely does, and it will also increase the damage per pellet that you hit. So when I tested this out, the base damage was unchanged, and the damage per pellet went up to about 10 damage per pellet at close range and about 2 at long range. So about a 3 damage per pellet, or approximately a 24 total damage improvement, which unfortunately isn't going to grant you a one-shot kill, and it may cause you to get less 3-shot kills at long ranges, and maybe a little more generous if you're not hitting a lot of your pellets. Laser Sight 2 is probably better for the hipfire than it is for the overall damage of the gun, because it's still mostly going to be a 2-hit weapon. There is an attachment called Max Load, which just adds 2 extra pellets. So instead of shooting 8 pellets like every shotgun in Call of Duty since the history of ever, you're going to be shooting 10, which will mean that you get 14 extra damage per shot potential, or 20 extra damage per shot potential with Laser Sight 2. So if you're running Laser Sight 2 and Max Load together to just totally max out your damage, and you point blank somebody right in the chest, you're going to deal 148 damage, and it's still not going to get a one-shot kill. They put it right at that very cusp to where it almost one-shots people, but it won't. It's still going to be a 2-shot weapon. However, with these attachments, if somebody has taken a little bit of damage from your team, if they've taken fall damage, if they've been burned, if a butterfly landed on them and flapped its wings too hard and they got tickled, you'll get a one-shot kill. So they're not terrible to add on there, but I think that there are better attachments to run than the damage modifying ones on these weapons. If you run the damage modifying weapons, you're basically just increasing your 2-shot potential. I think that the SG-12 is way more powerful when you put on the utterly enormous extended mags 2 for drum magazines so that you can spam indefinitely. That's kind of a hilarious one. But the one that really tickles my fancy is that you can also put a super powerful tactical light on it that blinds people. What it does is it makes you no longer able to aim down sights. However, when you hit the aim down sights button, you'll tilt the shotgun sideways slightly in a tactical manner, not a tactical manner, we're not tactical here, and it will spam attack light a la Battlefield 3 and make you very, very difficult to see. This is super painful for quickscopers to deal with. Most players aren't ready for it. It's very disorienting, and there's no perks that help you get around it. So that one is the fun one for me. Either Extended Mags 2 or the tack light is really where the money's at. And my overall review of these shotguns is that the base MOG-12 is 2-hit or quit until you unlock either Choke or Dragon's Breath. The MOG-12 is really rough. You're going to have to shoot somebody 2 times unless you're like point blanking them. However, once you get Choke, you're going to get a lot more one-shot kills, and when you get Dragon's Breath, you're going to be just really, really cheesy, and you're going to burn some people, but you'll probably be trading kills at that point. The SG-12 is kind of a bad shotgun, given that SMGs and other rifles can kill you much faster, until you unlock Extended Mags 2 or the tack light. Then it gets way more fun. With Extended Mags 2, you can take advantage of mobility and just spam indefinitely, and the tack light is super powerful and trolly. It's probably not the greatest, most tactical weapon on the planet, but it is a really fun weapon if you just want to be a dick for one day. Guys, that is all for this in-depth video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you learned something useful. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.